You and I, we were meant to be. I feel it in my soul. Feel it in my soul.
Do you have questions about cybersecurity careers? Well, thank goodness you're in the right spot. I did a survey recently on LinkedIn to find out what are those career questions. Now, I'm building a free course around that, but instead of having all of you wait a couple of weeks or however long it takes me to film and edit the course, I'm just going to go ahead and actually be a little informal in this video and just read through all the questions I've gotten on that submission form and try to answer them to the best of my ability. There's probably some I may not be able to fully answer, but I'll try to answer the ones I can. So let's just dive right in. The first question, I get this actually quite a bit in different contexts, but what are the qualifications to be a best hacker? Well, I actually think the best qualification you could have is learning human psychology and how to get people to do the things that you want. I've been very successful back when I worked as a pen tester, getting into companies, getting into things I shouldn't have had access to, including sensitive facilities, just because I was able to talk my way in. So I firmly believe that if you can get into someone else's brain and make it where they think it's their idea to let you do the thing that you want to do, that's the best qualification. Now, talking about technical qualifications, it really depends on what kind of pen testing you want to do. Do you want to be a web app pen tester, networking, application? Do you want to just do like code review? It just really kind of depends on what route you want to go. Do you want to specialize in mobile, et cetera? And based on where you want to specialize, that's what technical skills you should, be looking to get. You can get a job as a pen tester starting out, that could be your first job. I highly recommend you do some kind of defensive role first, just so you can kind of see how an enterprise actually works. So again, question number one, what are the qualifications to be a best hacker? That's the answer right there. The number one thing I think is being able to tap into the human psychology and manipulate or influence someone else to do something that you want them to do. Next question, how does one start with CTI, so cyber threat intelligence, for those that don't know what that is? What are the prerequisites and resources? There's a lot of free and low-cost resources. I think Coursera has a course. I don't know if they charge or not these days over there. They may charge, so it may not be free anymore. I think there's some stuff on like Udemy, low cost. Threat intel is all about just like what kind of information do you have and how do you put it in the context that makes sense for your organization. So if you're someone trying to learn the topic area, then look up some case studies, look up some breaches, right? Look up some ransomware attacks, for example, and then say, okay, what happened and what kind of information might have helped the organization protect against this, this attack better, right? That's where I would start with that. There's not technically any prereqs. I mean, it's not normally a entry-level role. Normally you work as, a SOC analyst or something first before you move into threat intel, but you could technically go straight into a role. It really depends on the company and where you live in the world. But as far as prereqs, I'd say maybe get a year or two experience in some other role first. Again, just going back to, so you know how the enterprise functions. Because it's a lot different. A lot of these training programs, and ignoring threat intel for a moment, but a lot of these training programs out there like have you spin up a single Kali Linux VM and a single Windows VM. And then when you get in the enterprise, it's 10,000 machines, right? So it's a lot different, doing different things. So that's why I say get the experience with an enterprise in some capacity. It could be even in a sales role or marketing or something, but just understanding how a large company functions will help you so much in your career. Question number 3 here, how do I get people to notice me and take a chance? So what I'm going to say here is I'm literally going question by question. So they're going to jump around between technical and career and LinkedIn and other social media and things like that. So just keep that in mind. These are going to jump all around. The course, when I build the course, it'll be a lot more structured. Everything will be grouped together. But again, I wanted to film just a really informal video today to get these questions answered for those out there that need the answer right away. So how do I get people to notice me and take a chance when I've done labs, gain some very limited form of experience in your current job, and post on LinkedIn? Okay, so it seems like this person's posting on LinkedIn. They've done some home labs. They're getting some experience in their current job. I'd say for you, in this person in particular that put that, and again, the form was anonymous, so I have no clue who put this question. Really, it's just keep doing it, especially on LinkedIn. Like, if you're posting already on LinkedIn, everything you post on LinkedIn should be about whatever you want to be known for, right? So if I if I want to get a job in threat intel, for example, in cybersecurity, cyber threat intel, everything I post will be around threat intel, right? I'll talk about different breaches and what I think companies could have done differently, what kinds of information people should look for in a company when they're trying to find that particular thing going on. As an example, ransomware attack, right? What are some IOCs or indicators of compromise for those that don't know what that is? What are some things that, I'll go over to MITRE ATT&CK, right? And a particular group, so let's say APT 29, what do they normally do, right? What's kind of their typical tactics, techniques, and procedures for a breach or whatever their objective is? And that's the type of stuff I'll share on social media, right? And not just LinkedIn, but anywhere across the board. But that's what I'll share because I want to be known as a threat intel guy, right? If I want to be known for cloud, right? A cloud architect or cloud security or something. If I want to be known for DevSecOps or, GitOps or whatever, that's what I'm going to be posting about on social media. So make sure for the person that asked this question, if you're listening, make sure that you focus that on whatever you want to be known for. That's what your post on social media should be all about. That way people start noticing you for that. Don't worry about engagement on your post, likes, all that stuff like that. That comes with time. I mean, I still have posts. I've got a huge following on LinkedIn, right? A lot of people know me from there. Got a ton of students all over the world in my courses. And I still get posts that get 200 views, right? And no likes, right? It just happens. It's just the nature of social media and algorithms and stuff. So just keep doing it. And for those out there that aren't posting yet, LinkedIn's a huge resource for your job career, for your career. So I definitely encourage you to post on LinkedIn in whatever format is easy for you, right? I'm good on video. I'm not a prolific writer or anything like that. So I do write some things. I do some posts with writing, but I'm not going to sit there and spend hours trying to figure out the perfect blog type post to put on LinkedIn, right? That's not me. But maybe you are. Maybe you like to write. Maybe you don't want to be on camera or something. So figure out what works for you on posting on social media and choose that medium or, that type of thing to post. Next question, how do you diversify? I don't really know what you mean by this question, but I guess I'm going to answer it a couple of different ways. So I'll answer it if you mean like diversify on skill set. Just I'm a big fan of free and low cost, right? And when I put out courses, you'll notice I put them on my own platform, CyberLife University, which I'll share once that's out. I put a free and low cost, basically the pay what you can model. That's popularized by a few people in cyber already. But I'm a believer that, if you can pay something, because I personally circulate all the dollars back into the community to help other people across the world that can't afford certain things. And then, of course, the free version for those that can't afford it right off the bat. So as far as skill diversification, my point with all that, talking about the university, focus on free and low cost, right? There's just so many resources out there. You just have to figure out like what skills you want to build. If the question's around how do you diversify, maybe you personally and kind of your point of view and your mentality and stuff, just expose yourself to different groups. So let's say that obviously I'm a white male. So if you grew up in a very, very, we in the US, we call it like lily white and stuff like that. But we use slang terms, but if you grew up in like a very white neighborhood or a very white area that didn't have a lot of ethnic diversity, then surround yourself with others that don't look like you, right? I mean, it's really that simple. And then that way you can get different perspectives. And it's not just, racial or gender identification or anything like that. It could be diversity of thought, right? So, I mean, I grew up in the north of the US. My spouse grew up in the South, right? So we have different perspectives, right? There's diversity there. Of course, we're a diverse couple because we're different races and stuff. But if that's, so again, that question, I didn't really know what you're asking there, but diversity of skills, free and low cost resources, and really just whatever interests you, because you never know what will take you into your next phase of your career in cyber. I started on the defensive side. I was doing networking and stuff as well. I came from that traditional IT thing when I transitioned from nursing, and I ended up doing pen testing, right? And then I moved into course creation, and I moved into, I have a TV show now, right? Actual television show. So all those things, I just tried things that interested me, and I found I liked it. Next question is way path of web pen test. Okay, so how do you be a web pen tester, web app pen tester? Philip Wiley, and I forget who the other authors were on the book. There's a good book Phil has, and he's a great guy, by the way. He helps a lot of people in the industry. It's called the Pen Test Blueprint or Pen Tester Blueprint. You can find it on like Amazon, very low cost. Just grab that book. That's because there's a lot of different ways, but that's a great book to start you out if you want to be a pen tester in any form of pen testing, that's a great book for you. As far as web app pen testing specifically, oh gosh, Portswigger, Portswigger. So Portswigger, just look them up. They got some free web app pen testing. You can also find like Udemy has some courses. Station X, so StationX.net, N-E-T. So Station X has a lot of training around that as well. And I like them because they've got some bundle packages as well. I think you can still get a discount with a while back, you could use a Cyber Life code. So if you go to stationx.net and do like /cyber life, so CYBERLIFE, it should give you some kind of a discount. I think it should still work. I don't know if it still does, but just check that out and see. They're another one. They got a huge amount of content around pen testing and web app pen testing, things like that. Next question is, I'm curious about SOC analyst domain and want to know how to enter into that particular role. What learning path should I take to become a SOC analyst? I actually get this question a lot. Really, I mean, there's so much training out there. It can be overwhelming. Start by looking at some YouTube videos. They're free, right? YouTube videos are free. So look at some YouTube videos around SOC careers. Make sure it's something you really want to do, and just see, get different perspectives. As far as learning to be a SOC analyst, it depends on the company you're looking at, but overall, fundamental knowledge of networking, fundamental knowledge of operating systems, again, stuff you can get off YouTube. I mean, Professor Messer has a whole like Net Plus series. I mean, Chris Bryant, Dave Bombal. There's a number of people that have like free CCNA, which is a network certification videos. You don't have to get certifications. I'm not telling you to do that, but just go ahead and watch the videos, learn some fundamental networking knowledge, because that's what a lot of companies are looking for. And then as far as like actual SOC analyst role, once you've got the fundamental knowledge and hopefully some hands-on skills, what also is looked for is experience with SIM tools, specifically Splunk. So Splunk has a SPLUNK for those that don't know what it is. Splunk is a SIM tool, and it's got a lot of free training out there. And there's also some low-cost training on Udemy. I don't think the Udemy training is around cybersecurity, though. I think it's more of like setting up Splunk, kind of more the admin stuff. So it may or may not be a little helpful from context, but Splunk themselves has some good free training out there. So that's what I would recommend. I mean, literally just if you have no IT background, go take some, watch some free videos or take some low-cost courses on Udemy around, operating systems and networking. And then from there, move into training on Splunk. And then, from there, literally start applying for jobs, start networking on social media, start applying for jobs. It doesn't hurt to also do Wireshark to just learn some, packet capture analysis. As a SOC tier 1, you're probably not going to be doing that a whole lot, though. You're going to be probably working with Splunk or something similar like QRadar or something like that from IBM. So again, the tool you use doesn't matter so much, because you just have to understand how the tool works, right? It's just a tool in the toolbox. So if you understand how SIMs work by taking some Splunk training and kind of deep diving into that, then you'll be fine moving to QRadar or something else. At that point, it's just learning that specific tool. Next question, what's your advice to someone who's pursuing another career, but thinking about pursuing a career in cybersecurity at some point? I kind of wish the person asking this had listed what they're doing, what's their current career. So the best advice I have is like, just start taking, number one, don't make it a distraction. So if you're in an educational program right now for something else, let's just say you're going to be a software developer, right? You're in some coding boot camp or college degree program or something like that. Then focus on that right now, right? Focus on one thing at a time. There's a concept I love to use called the circle of focus. And it's basically, it's a great exercise. You just draw a circle on a piece of paper, and all the things you have going on in your life, start adding them to the pie, right? We just call it a pie essentially. So it's a circle, and just start chopping it up. And you're going to notice how diversified you are in the things you're doing, and that you really can't focus on anything and get stuff done because you're doing so many things, or you're trying to do so many things. So I say focus on one thing, right? So finish whatever you're focused on. Now, if you're actually working in another career and you're thinking, well, maybe I want to do cybersecurity at some point, start out by taking some free or low-cost courses and see what you like, right? Try some defensive stuff, some SOC training or whatever, or some incident response training, or dive into reverse engineering, or just, analyzing malware through a sandbox online or something, right? I mean, there's a number of ways you can do stuff like that. Try some pen testing. It's just, try some GRC stuff, right? Look at some frameworks and say, okay, well, how would this NIST framework apply to this situation or whatever, right? Or how would the ISO ones apply? Just testing stuff out. But again, free and low cost. Do not go get like a master's degree in cybersecurity or bachelor's in cybersecurity. Don't change your major. Don't do all that crazy stuff because it's just expensive and there's no rationale for it. There is no real ROI to getting a bachelor's or master's in cybersecurity over something else. I mean, you've got a bachelor's, that's all you need for a management job, just a bachelor's in anything really. So you don't have to get one that says cyber on it. So if you're in another career right now and you're kind of looking at cybersecurity, again, free and low cost is the way to go. Next question. By the way, this video might run a little longer than usual just because I'm going to go through and answer all these. So it might actually be a pretty long video at the end. I'm not sure. What certifications should I get? I get this question all the time. My goodness. I'm not a huge fan of certs, but I understand, they're a necessary evil because so many companies will require them as part of their job postings. So the cert you should get really, really depends on what you want to do, right? Like what job are you trying to get? You shouldn't just go get like 97 certifications. That's stupid. And you also shouldn't just get certifications to collect them and not actually apply them or be able to apply the knowledge that you're learning. As far as like certs, I recommend, like if you had to go get certs right now and you only had limited funds, you had to get the best bang for your buck, so to speak. I recommend cloud certs. Honestly, like I don't recommend Security Plus. I know a lot of people do. I recommend you take video training on Security Plus, get the knowledge of it. Same thing with like Net Plus or CCNA or, any of those very entry level certs. I don't recommend you invest money in it, right? Unless here in the US or other places of the world, like here in the US, the public sector or the government space, Sec Plus can get you some doors open. But if you're staying in the private sector or, the civilian sector or the normal sector, well, I don't want to say normal because some people be like, but, if you kind of work on the more traditional jobs, you don't really need a Sec Plus, right? There's no real ROI because so many people have it. It does not separate you from the crowd. Like literally so many people have that certification. Again, not knocking it. If you've got the money to get that and some other stuff, cool. But if you don't, then use your dollars wisely. So the ones I actually do recommend are getting like AWS Solutions Architect or cloud, even the cloud practitioner and like Microsoft Azure fundamentals, right? You get a couple of cloud certs, some fundamental ones. You can kind of get exposed to the cloud world, practice your networking skills a bit. Those will actually help open up more doors, right? Because obviously anyone with cloud skills is in demand right now. Again, I don't recommend Sec Plus. I know there's people screaming at the, as they're watching this right now, like, he's evil for saying that. I do recommend that you look at Sec Plus videos. There's free ones again on YouTube, right? I think Professor Messer still has some Sec Plus videos out there that are free on YouTube as well. Watch those, learn the concepts, buy a book on Sec Plus, great. If you don't, unless you've got the extra money, don't take the exam. Don't waste your time. Don't spend hundreds of dollars to get a certification that's not going to give you any ROI whatsoever, right? At least in my opinion. Again, there's people right now screaming at this. I don't care. That's their opinion. My opinion is I like people getting the best bang for your buck. The people that have listened to me in the past and actually taken the action and gotten like, the cloud-based certs, those people are, all of them that I know of, at least the ones that have reached out to me, are at 6 figures. So if you want to, I'm not guaranteeing you 6 figures, but if you want to get to 6 figures, at least have the ability to make a good salary, no matter where you live in the world, cloud certs are the ones I recommend. Now, if you're specifically focused on other things, like if, forensics or whatever, then there may be certifications you want to look at for that. But overall, just like entry level people trying to get in, cloud-based certs. Next question, how do you begin the process of networking the field if you don't know anyone with a job or close to the technology field? LinkedIn. LinkedIn is always my answer for that type of question. But what you want to do first is figure out what area of cyber you want to be in, and then just find people in that role, right? So if you want to be a pen tester, find pen testers and connect with them and say, hey, I'm just getting my start, kind of learning pen testing, whatever, interested in it. Any resources you recommend? By all means, please don't reach out to someone and say, please, give me a job. Please, like begging. You should never beg. Like, let's be realistic here. You're going to have to put in some work. It's going to be hard. It's going to suck. For anything in life, it sucks. People watch me and they're like, oh, I want to be like him. You don't want to be like me because I've been through a lot of things in my life. I've been homeless. You don't want to be homeless if you've never been homeless. It sucks. So you don't want to be like me. You just want to put in the hard work like me, and you can reap the benefits of that later in your career. So just reach out to people that are in the career you want to be in on LinkedIn and just ask them for resources or pointers. The more you communicate with people and the less like needy you are, the less like begging you are, like, please, 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 the more that you're just like, hey, like a casual conversation, right? The more you're just like, hey, I'm looking for some, good resources to learn, web app pen testing, right? Or to be good at analyzing malware samples or looking for suspicious network activity, with Wireshark, whatever. People will point you to the good resources, and that'll also get you in their mind, right? And, the more you communicate with them and the more you're giving and not just taking and saying, hey, if there's any projects I can help you on or whatever, let me know. And at some point, you're going to, that person, when they're in a meeting and the company just creates a new job for a junior pen tester, they're going to think of you because you've told them you're looking and you've always been trying to give, right? You've always been trying to give back and help them in any capacity. They're going to think of you. They're going to say, hey, I don't know, Tamiko. So sorry, Tamiko, if you're watching, I'm using your name because I know it, Tamiko. She's magnificent, by the way. But Tamiko, we just came up with this, my boss just said we're going to hire a new junior pen tester. I know you've been looking. Are you still looking? If so, shoot me your resume. I'm going to give it to my boss today, right? That's how you actually get jobs in cybersecurity. A lot of people don't realize that there's a hidden market. There's a lot of job postings, but it's very rare for you to apply to a job in cybersecurity and actually get the job. Extremely rare. The way to get it is to know somebody in that organization or have someone that can recommend you. And that actually will help you get that first interview. And then from there, if you screw up the interview, that's on you, right? But if you are good in the interview, if they like you and they feel you're a good fit for the team, that's how you actually get the jobs in cyber. And that includes sales roles, includes marketing roles, some of the non-traditional paths that people for some reason mostly don't want to do. But if you want to do those and you're willing to do those for 6 months, you can get into cyber almost immediately for a lot of those jobs. Next question, how do we start a career in cybersecurity? We kind of already answered this in a lot of things, but I'll go through each one of these questions. How do you start a career in cybersecurity? Number one, figure out what you want to do. Figure out the career path you want to start with. It's not necessarily what you want to do long-term, and that's where people go wrong a lot of times. Just focus on what you want to do initially and what you're willing to do. Again, I mentioned like, SDR roles, the entry-level sales roles, the marketing roles. There's openings. Right. So if you're willing to work in marketing for a cybersecurity product company, like Votiro, Votiro is a really great company. I know one of the executives over there. She's magnificent. And she's actually the VP of marketing. Right. So like if you're interested in marketing and they happen to have a role open, right. And, like that's a good company to get into. Right. And then you've got cybersecurity company on your resume. Right. And you're marketing for them. Right. So now you're immediately, it's weird, right? It's kind of like, it reminds me actually of dating, right? So way back in the day before I was, married and stuff like that. So what I found in my personal dating experience is anytime I was in a relationship, I was more attractive to, the other people that I was, trying to date, previously, right? So I'd like ask out people, women, because I'm, that's what I prefer. Everyone's got their own thing. I prefer women because I'm a straight guy. So I would ask out women, certain women, they'd say no. Then as soon as I'd ask out someone else, they'd say yes, and I'd be dating someone, all of a sudden it was more attractive, right? So what I'm getting at with that example is when you get a role in cyber, a lot of times it doesn't even matter what the heck it is. You can work as a marketing or in sales, but you've got a security company on your resume. All of a sudden you're attractive to other companies, right? Especially like the dream companies you want to work at. So for those out there, I really encourage you to be open to more things than just like SOC analyst or pen test or whatever. Right. So how do you start a career in cybersecurity? Number one, figure out what you want to start with or what you're willing to start with. And then at that point, it's just networking, learning, giving it enough time, because sometimes it does take time, and understanding that you're going to hear no a lot. I mean, I've got back when I was applying for jobs a long time ago, I had the resume, right? I had the certs, the degrees, I had all the things they wanted. I nailed the interviews, but I still heard no, right? They still turned me down for the role because they, brought someone else on. So you're going to hear no. It doesn't matter who you are, how much experience, whatever. Like everyone hears no. So just suck it up and understand that every no gets you closer to that yes. So the more no's you can get, the faster you can fail, so to speak, then the faster you get to that yes, right? It's a pretty simple process there. So That's my answer to this. How do you start a career? Is focus on what you want to do first. Networking, learning, and then just giving it enough time and understanding you're going to hear a no, and just keep pushing through until you hear the yes. What's a good job title for entry-level position in cybersecurity? I'm a fan. I really think people can take the road less traveled to get their first job in. I know a lot of people just totally ignore me when I say that, and that's fine. You're still looking for a job, and the people that listen to me are hired, actually, almost all of them already. So the entry-level positions I kind of recommend you look at least look at them and see and give them some consideration. Marketing. So look in cybersecurity marketing, look for marketing jobs in cybersecurity product companies, look for sales jobs like SDR, entry-level sales type jobs there, even sales jobs that are asking for like 1 or 2 years experience. And then also GRC. So GRC I think is an untapped area in cyber. Jerry Auger, who runs a Simply Cyber YouTube channel, actually just came out with a good course on GRC. So definitely check that out. It's pay what you can, similar model that I do. And so you can, if you don't have the money, you can take it for free. If you do have the money, please, actually pay for it to help other people in the industry. So that's my recommendation on that. Those are the 3 areas I would look at. I wouldn't waste my time trying to be a pen tester or SOC analyst. If I was trying to get my first job, I would just literally get my foot in the door, and then I can move into something else after that. Because you just need a few months experience in one of those roles, and then you can move to something else and have your dream job essentially, right? But sometimes you have to suck up the things you don't want to do to be able to do the thing you want to do shortly there, down the line. So the next question is, what is a good entry-level position? I actually just answered that, so I'm not going to even waste time re-answering that thing. What is the cheapest or most cost-effective way to start doing your own contracting and still look professional? And then they kind of have in parentheses, using like a Gmail or Hotmail address or something looks kind of amateur. Yeah, so it's kind of a business question. For those that kind of want to work like their day job and have a side hustle, so to speak, or that want to start their own consulting business. So yeah, there's a whole process behind that. This could be this would be a long answer if I went into everything. As far as your email, yeah, you can use something like G Suite. It's like $20 or $30 or something like that to have that here in the US. And you can, you can buy a domain name. You can set up a simple website, usually with whatever host you're using. It doesn't have to be fancy. I think that's where people make the mistake in business. They want to get all these fancy things. You don't have to be fancy starting out. You should definitely not be fancy, even if you took investor capital. So yeah, just like G Suite or something like that gives you an actual, like, let's say you have sample.com is your URL, your domain name. Then you can set up your Gmail to be, Chris@sample.com, right? So it looks professional. It's low cost to you. Yeah, you don't want to use a Gmail. The other reason you don't want to use like a generic, like Gmail, Hotmail, whatever for your business is because if you ever try to build business credit, then you're going to get denied. That's one of the points. And again, that's a totally different course. I'll actually create one. I'll create one on my CyberLife University. I'll create a business credit course for cybersecurity practitioners, so that way you understand all these things. But there's a list of criteria that lenders use, and basically, like when they run your credit, your business credit, they check off basically these boxes, right? So it's not actually the person behind the counter running the stuff. It's just an algorithm, right? And so if you don't hit any of these things, or if you flag at any of these things, you're likely to be declined, right? It doesn't matter what how much revenue and stuff like that you have if you miss things on this list. So one of the things is if you don't have an actual business email address, that's one of the items on the list. It'll flag it, and you'll usually get denied for things like that. So there's a lot of things on the list that are minor things that are easy to correct, that are very low cost to correct. But people just don't know that, right? If you can't fix what you don't know. So that's another reason I would suggest spending, investing, not spending, but investing, right? You're investing in your business. By the way, if you can have a business, I recommend it because you can write off a lot of things, right? If you have a good accountant. So you can use that if you're working a corporate job right now and getting your salary and stuff. If you have a side hustle business where you're, actively focused on, building your revenue, stuff like that. If you have a good accountant, you can write off a lot of things. It just saves you a lot on your taxes and helps you get some really big refunds. So just FYI, a little tip on that. But going back to the actual question about email addresses, yeah, for 2 reasons you want to do that. Number 1, you do look more professional if you have an actual business email address. And number 2, it helps you with your business credit. Helps you if you're ever deciding to build business credit down the line in your business. What's the best way to find next question is, what's the best way to find a cybersecurity job with an IT background already? Figure out what, I mean, usually you can just go right into a cybersecurity job from that, right? So for me, what happened was I was working in networking, network engineer, doing network security. I worked at a smaller company, so I just kind of had to do, the SIM tools. I learned Splunk was the first one I learned. And Wireshark, things like that for analysis. I mean, I just kind of had to do that. So I would say figure out what kind of security stuff you're doing right now in your current IT job. Because I mean, IT could mean, I mean, it could be networking. It could also just mean help desk, and not just help desk, right? Because I worked help desk for a number of years. So, you deal with a lot of crap in a help desk. But I mean, it just kind of depends on what, like, I would say take a self-assessment for this person and others out there with an IT background. Take a self-assessment, figure out like, what do you do right now that's, related to security? I mean, obviously access control is one big one, that you're dealing with. But what else? Are you updating software? Are you having to, do any QA on software? Like, what else are you doing that translates to security? And then really just apply for jobs. You don't have to, like, there's no, I mean, the transition is just you literally saying, okay, I'm IT in an IT role, and I want to move it into a cyber security role or a job with, some kind of cybersecurity or security or something in the title. You just move into it, right? You just apply for the job and get it. So there's really no, in my mind, there's no transition. It's really just you figuring out like what you want to do, figuring out what skills you currently have that apply to cyber, and then really just translating that, right? And translating that not just on your resume, but also social media. So people know you as the person that can do these things, right? So just do a self-assessment. That's the easiest way to start with that. All right, the next question is how to know when you're ready to be a cybersecurity professional? I mean, you just do it. I mean, it's really, I'm sorry to giggle, but like, there's not like a checkbox to say, all right, yeah, I've checked the box on that. I mean, if you are interested in doing it, then you're ready. It's just, it's kind of like, it goes to, pardon me. It goes to my view on motivational speakers, right? Like a lot of people will pay thousands of dollars to go to these events here in the US and around the world to listen to a motivational speaker that, get you all excited. Yeah, my life's going to change. And most people, nothing ever changes, right? Because they get motivated and then they go home and they go sit on the couch and eat potato chips. My philosophy is if you're motivated enough to go pay for a motivational speaker, you're already motivated, right? So why the heck would you pay your money to go do that? And I'm saying all that to say, same thing here with how do I know when I'm ready to be a cybersecurity professional? If you're asking this question, you're ready, right? You're ready because you're already interested in doing it. You have an interest in being a cyber professional, whatever particular job you choose. So just go do it. Just go learn the things for the job you want and go do it. Like at this point, it's just action. And you just have to take action. And again, going back to what I talked about earlier in this video, take action, learn, immerse yourself, right? Do the things, share it on social media, right? Plug yourself, right? Understand it's going to take time. Like nobody's going to look at your post. Then all of a sudden, everyone's looking at your post, right? Just keep doing it. And eventually you'll hear enough no's and then you'll hear a yes all of a sudden, right? So just like do the process. It's a process. You cannot skip the process. For those that want to skip the process, everyone wants like a shortcut. It's like the Matrix, right? Everyone wants a pill, right? Which pill are you going to take? Everyone wants a shortcut. They just want to take a pill. It's like working out, right? Like everyone wants to take a pill and not like eat healthy and work out. But like if you eat healthier and work out, then you get the body that you want. So like follow the process, right? There's a process. Trust the process, do the process. Stop looking for a magic pill or magic bullet or looking for someone else's advice. Like, please don't like go look at 12 other people's advice all of a sudden. Like, just go do it. Like you're motivated enough to be a cyber professional already. Just go do it. Take the action to do it. Next question is a great question, actually, a really great question. I get this one all the time. How do I choose between all the available different domains, career paths, and cybersecurity? Yeah, it's extremely daunting. And the problem out there is, and not to any fault of the practitioners that are out there in the industry right now, but when you ask 50 different people for their advice, you're going to hear 50 different answers usually, right? It's really, how do you choose a domain that interests you? I'm honestly start again, going back to free low cost, right? Look at some free videos on YouTube, see what kind of interests you. And then from there, maybe buy a couple of low cost courses or something if you want, and on Udemy or some other site, see if those interest you. Like, okay, cool. The other thing, you have to be practical, right? you may want to be a pen tester, but there's no jobs in your area for that, right? And there's no jobs in your country for that even, right? There's nothing you open, you see, but maybe all the jobs open are GRC jobs, right? Or they're cloud-based, something around cloud, like cloud architect or cloud ops or something, cloud security or something, something like that. Be intelligent about this, right? Just because you want to do it doesn't necessarily mean it's the right decision right now. Because maybe you do have to take that, cloud architect role, that junior role or something like that, work in that. And then because you've worked in that for a year or two, now big companies that have pen testing jobs open are looking at you, right? They're going to talk to you. They're more open to you. Now, all of a sudden, you were like, this sucks for 2 years. I hate doing this cloud stuff. Oh, this is so terrible. But that led to an opportunity. Now you're moving to another country. You're making, triple your salary. You're working in your dream job as a pen tester, travel all over the world. The company pays for all these things, whatever, right? But if you didn't take that step and sucked up things a little bit, right? And realize like, okay, I need to be intelligent here and figure out what can I get in my area, in my country, what opportunities are there, and focused on that first, right? Again, I'm not telling you not to do the things that you love, but sometimes you have to be realistic, right? Sometimes people have a fairy tale in their mind, and you have to be realistic sometimes and say, all right, well, there's like no jobs for this, right? Like I would love to be just a magician all the time, right? But am I realistically like when I thought about it, right? When I thought about being a magician for the rest of my life, and there's probably some magicians making money, but I was like, okay, realistically, I'm not going to get financially retired from being a magician. And I'm not going to, because of that, I'm not going to be able to help others in the capacity I want to. I'm not going to be able to, sponsor people around the world for things, sponsor people for conferences, help people with their college, it's not, all these things I want to do, right, to give back to humanity and help others. I can't do if I'm trying to be a magician, right? So I focused on other things, right? Like business and building that stuff up. So again, just you have to be realistic sometimes and figure out like, where do you eventually want to be? Sometimes you have to embrace the sucky job and do that so you can get to where you want to be, right? So that's a long-winded answer to your question of how do I choose a domain? Number one, look at things you enjoy. Try to find, a career path in those in your area. But be realistic that if you can't find jobs that are available for that, you may have to take something else to get your job in your first job in the industry. And from there, use that as leverage to move eventually to where you want to go. So just, again, you have to be realistic sometimes on these things. This next one's a good question. Is there an implicit or explicit age limit for joining the cybersecurity fight? There's no official age limit. Just understand, like with any career, there's companies that are going to discriminate you because of your age. Even though it's illegal, they're still going to do it. They're still going to do it. I mean, it's just the nature of if you're going to work for someone else's company, you have to understand that like they're going to control they control you, right, in some capacity. So they get to say what's happened or whatever. Now, if you start your own company, guess who controls it? You. And if you don't want to work, if clients don't want to work with you because of your age, who cares? You don't want to work with those are the pain about clients, anyways. As far as corporate stuff, yeah, there's discrimination. But there's not an age limit to join the cybersecurity fight. I mean, there's people in their 60s and 70s joining in, right, and getting jobs. Just understand that there's going to be companies that won't hire you because you're over 40 or something, right, or over 30, or you're not fresh out of college. Some of that's because the age limit. The other thing is because if you're older, usually, and again, if you're young like I was, back in the day, but you've had a lot of life experience through a lot of adversity, right? You're more mature for your age, usually, right? Because of that, you have certain mindset on things and you're awoken to certain things. You're not willing to tolerate a lot of the junk that companies will put you through when you're younger, fresh out of college. Oh, the world's perfect and blah, 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 right? So that's another component of that, of why companies a lot of times will unofficially discriminate against people that are older because they want people that can manipulate. It's kind of like this may sound bad, but it's kind of like an abusive relationship in a way, or like like the people that are like in their 50s or 60s getting like the 20-year-old. And I'll put it on men for a minute. This guy in his 60s trying to get a 20-year-old young woman because he can like manipulate her to what he wants, whatever like that, right? She's impressionable, all these terms they'll throw out. It's kind of like that, right, with these companies. And again, not all of them, but a lot of these companies where they're looking for people that are impressionable. So that's where you get a lot of that. So again, to answer your question directly, there's no age limit. You can be 160, come on in. You can be a toddler. I mean, there's like on my show, I had the young boy on there. He was I think 9 when he came on the show, right? So a 9-year-old coming on the show, learning things. He can do some hacking stuff, whatever. There's no age limit, right? He could be doing cyber things. He was doing them, doing stuff on the show. So there's no age limit, but just understand there is discrimination on age, and it happens. Regardless of what people tell you, it happens. I will always tell you the real talk. I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. It happens. I've spoken up so many times on it in different board. I mean, I've been kicked out of so many boardrooms and so many executive meetings. It's not even funny, but that's what you need to do if you're standing up for the right thing. So anyways, off the soapbox for a minute there. Let's get back on track here. Next question. How do I prepare for cloud security roles? There are a lot of cloud platforms, and each one of them has a lot of services. Yeah, it can be overwhelming, that as well. Pick one and focus on that, right? So whether that's AWS or Azure, two biggest ones, I would recommend those ones just because they have the largest market share. AWS has the largest market share still by a long shot, but Microsoft Azure is gaining market share. Google Cloud as well, but again, this actually kind of goes back to your area, right? What are they asking for? Are companies putting jobs out asking for AWS, or is it Google Cloud, right? If it's Google Cloud, then focus on learning that platform and, and getting your skill set up on that. So, but just pick one, start with one, because once you learn the fundamentals of one, it becomes a lot easier to learn the others. Kind of like programming, right? You learn one language really well, it becomes easier to learn the other ones. Next question dives back into certs. So is certification needed for cybersecurity? No. That being said, a lot of jobs ask for it, but understand that everything on a job posting is a wish list. Everything. I don't care if they say required or they say wish, what is it? Preferred. That's what I'm looking for. Whether it says required or preferred, apply for the job if you meet most of that stuff, or if you feel that you can do it, apply for that job. Who cares what they require on certs? I don't care about that stuff. And neither should you. Just apply for the job. Worst case scenario, you don't hear back, or they say no. Okay, cool. And if they say no, but if you get that survey, well, I tell you what, I'm limited on funds right now. But when I start in this role, within 6 months, I'll have the certification. In fact, I'll get it done within 90 days. If you're willing to, as a company, if you're willing to pay for it, I'll do it within 90 days guaranteed. Right. And see what they say. They may say, okay, cool, you're hired. Right. You never know. So yeah, they're not required, but there's a lot of companies that want you to get them. But again, that's a wish list. Just apply for jobs, see what happens. Next question is, why is there so much focus on everything hands-on technical when you ask people for advice? Because so many people are focused on just the technical part of cyber. It's good to have, technical knowledge and skills. Absolutely. I'm not against that. Understand that there are jobs in cyber you can do without all this stuff, right? You can be auditor, you can be in GRC, you can do sales roles, you can do marketing, right? There's a lot of roles you can do in cyber without being too technical. And really, when we talk about technical skills, you could have very light fundamental vulnerability management and scanning skills and be working in a nice 6-figure career, right? So, but I, to your question directly, it's really just about who you're asking. A lot of people focus on the technical. I have a little broader focus or mindset, I guess, because I've seen all of it and I've seen people succeed in all of it. So you don't always need technical skills. They're helpful, but you don't always need those. Next question, after choosing a domain under the umbrella of cybersecurity, how are you supposed to prepare for the job? And like, what courses should we take, et cetera? Yeah. So again, just remember in your mind, always free and low cost. That should always be in the back of your mind anytime you think of training, because a lot of these places will just absolutely obliterate you for money. And I mean, I'm a businessman. I'm all about, charging, but you got to understand what your audience, as a business owner, what your audience can pay for. And if you're trying to get a job, get your start in cyber, you don't have $50,000 to, take, 5 or 6 SANS courses, right? You don't have, 50 grand or 100 grand for a college degree, right? Most people do a student loans or something, so it's delayed, but that's still money you owe, right? Like you don't have that, right? People don't have that. Most people, there's some people that do, but most people don't have that. So free and low cost, that's my recommendation on that, regardless of the role, free and low cost. Yeah, you can take courses if you find that video courses help you and doing hands-on. If you find that reading books helps you, I mean, I use all the above. If I pan the camera, you'd see like 400 books on this shelf. I think there's another 200 on that shelf over there. I've got in the other room, I don't know. I've got a few thousand books. Let's just say it like that. So I read books, but I also look at video courses. I also, look at webinars. I do a ton of hands-on. I mean, it just whatever works for you, right? But again, free and low cost is my advice on that. Next question is, how do you get internships in order to gain experience? I'm going to do a sigh here. I am not a fan of internships, free or paid. And let me tell you why. And I understand with college degrees and stuff like that, sometimes you have to do them, whatever, whatever. We'll ignore that for a minute. This isn't applying to those people. I believe you are always giving value to an organization, right? Even as a college student, right? So for those college students out there, my view on internships, because I think it's against whatever, I don't think they can pay you, or maybe they can pay you a small amount, whatever. My philosophy, if it's a free internship and you're a college students only, the company needs to give you something in exchange, right? It's got to be a value exchange, right? Law of reciprocity, right? Universal law. It's got to be a value exchange. So if they're getting free work out of you, they need to pay for a certification, right? Pay for some training for you, give you like a Try Hack Me voucher, right? Pay for some courses on Udemy or something. There's got to be something, right? Pay for give you some free meals, right? Give you a gift card or something. There has to be something. They need to do something, and you need to ask for that. Don't let them just push you around. If they say internship and they say free internship, say, okay, cool. But I'm actually giving value to your company while I'm here. Yeah, I'm learning, but I can learn anywhere. So do I get free lunch? Or, are you guys willing to pay for a couple of Udemy courses that I'm interested in? You're willing to pay for a Try Hack Me voucher? Are you, willing to give me a gift card so I can buy some books on Amazon that I really want to buy? Or, a Humble Bundle usually has a lot of ebooks. So are you willing to pay for, some Humble Bundle books for me? Right? Ask them, make them pay. You're giving value to them, right? You should never be working for free, actual free. No way. There should be always some value in experience. That's not enough value for you, right? You're valuable. Value yourself. Now, for everybody else that's not a college student, I am absolutely against internships, 100% against internships. I don't care if they're free or paid, because paid internships don't pay you a livable wage usually. I'm fully against, though. I know a lot of people out there are screaming right now at the camera. That's fine. I don't care. I'm against them. The reason why is because when you're done with an internship, what happens? You still have to look for a freaking job, right? Especially if that company doesn't hire you, you still got to look for a freaking job. So what's the point? What is the point of an internship? No. Go out and get an actual job, right? Even if it takes you a month to get a job versus jumping on an internship right away. Now you're in a real job where they've got to find a real reason to fire you, which is usually only if you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, you got a job, right? You got a paycheck coming in. You can support your family. You can support yourself. You can buy the things that you want to buy usually, right? You can do the things you want to do with a real job, but not with an internship, right? Because the internship ends and now you've got to go look for a job again. It's pointless in my mind. It's really pointless. That's my opinion. People will argue me down. That's fine. I'm not backing down from that. I'm fully against internships for someone that's not a college student. And even for college students, I'm against it, but I'm fully understand that a lot of programs out there, for you to get your degree, you have to do, X amount of internship hours or whatever. Right. But with those ones, with the college students, ask for something, ask for training to get paid for, ask for a voucher or something to get some books or whatever. Right. It's all about you learning. So why would they be against that? Right. Why would a company that actually cares about you, that calls you family, why would they be against you actually improving yourself? Right? It doesn't make any sense. So ask for those things. And for those that aren't in college, I'm fully against internships. Just suck it up, take a marketing or sales job or something, do a job that you don't necessarily want to do at a cyber company, get that experience on your resume, but you get a real paycheck, right? Someone recently that was, hopefully you can't hear my cat. She's going crazy meowing in the background. But someone recently that was open to getting a sales job at a cybersecurity company, she was able to get a very, very nice way. I was actually impressed with the rate she got for her base salary, just base salary, not the bonus, all that good stuff, just base salary. I was very impressed. She was getting high, this was an entry level sales role, which is normally not paying very well at all, usually. I mean, in most places, but they gave her SOC tier 2 wage. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. right? That's so cool because she was willing to take that job, right? And she didn't do an internship. She didn't do a free or paid internship and all this. She didn't do that. So I'm fully against internships. Again, I know they're a necessary evil for some college degrees, but I'm fully against it. This next question I don't actually understand. I'm going to read it. But how to pivot on other network. I guess you're asking about lateral movement. So for those that don't know, hacking or pen testing, lateral movement is how I compromise, like say your computer on the network, and then I move to some other, someone else's computer, or maybe a database or other server on the network. Yeah, just Google that. I mean, there's so much training out there on that. I'm actually not going to answer that question. That'll be one I don't really answer. Aside from just saying Google that, there's so much free and low cost training out there for learning how to do lateral movement. Heath Adams has some great training, like on Udemy and also on his site, which is TC. I don't know the URL off the top of my head, but it's TCM Security. Just look that up or look up Heath Adams on Udemy, and you should find links to his actual website. They've got a lot of training on pen testing and lateral movement and using like Bloodhound, which is a tool. So just I'm not going to dive into how to do that like that. This is more about high level getting started in cyber careers. That's not really a question for that, but just go look up like Heath Adams, or there's so much training out there. I don't want to direct you to certain one because we all learn from different people. Like there's people that learn from me and love what I teach, and there's other people that think I suck, right? And I'm fine with that because I'm happy if they think I suck. That means that somebody else can teach them, right? And they can learn from somebody else that relates to them better. That's totally fine with me. Next question, how do I start? I don't have the funds to be enrolled in the school. Free training, YouTube, Udemy has some free courses. There's a lot of people in industry that do the paid what you can. Like I mentioned, Jerry Auger of Simply Cyber YouTube channel. So just go look that up. Again, he's got that GRC course he just came out with. Go take that. He's got a coupon. You can take it for free. So there you go. And then you could go get a job. You leverage that, work really hard, learn some frameworks, and go get a job as a GRC analyst at a company. Now, all of a sudden, you have the funds to do the other things that you want to do, right? So that's what I would recommend on that. Next question is actually a couple of questions. What will be my job role? I have no idea. Just pick what you want to do. And then the second question with that is what certification is good for a beginner? We already answered that. Right? I already answered that. Again, I recommend if you're limited on funds, a couple of cloud certs, you'll be, you should be in a good position. Again, AWS and Azure, or if in your area, Google Cloud is popular, just look at their search as well. Next question. I'm an IT infrastructure service manager with 9 years of experience, but nothing was really related to security. You'd actually be surprised things you're probably doing in service management. So is there a role that could be a bridge between service management and security? So with your management background, there's actually, you could be a cybersecurity manager, honestly, and then just, kind of learn as you go. But you could actually get, with your management background, I've seen actually cybersecurity managers with no technical background, but they get the role and they just kind of, they trust their team. They have a really good team to support them. And they, of course, learn, right? They don't just like stop and like, I'm good. They, take deep dive into courses and, lean on their team for a little bit, like 6 months to a year. But after that, they become, kind of the technical, expert, if you will. So you can move right into management roles with that. There's not like an official bridge role, I would say. You really just started, honestly, just start applying for jobs. For all of you watching this, just start applying for jobs. Like, stop waiting. The worst thing you could do is wait. Like, people wait so long. Like, just start applying for jobs. And you may get some feedback from different companies like, no, we didn't pick you because of X, Y, or Z. That's great. Use that to leverage to, to improve yourself and improve your resume or, or your approach or whatever. All this stuff's helpful, but just got to start applying. That's the biggest thing. Next question is not really a career question. Why do businesses feel like engineers will solve all their problems with coding, and the problem is a lack of training and security measure design? It's really a mindset question, right? Like, businesses in general, they want to, most businesses, right? There's a lot of bad ones out there, but many companies want to do the right thing. It's just, you, as a business owner or someone, running a business for larger companies, it's a balance, right? It's a balance of controls. It's, it's not like there's a perspective that like secure coding or DevSecOps or, any any of the buzzwords, GitOps, whatever, any of this stuff will actually like prevent everything, right? That's never going to happen because with humans, there's always, something, but it's just whatever business you're dealing with probably has that mindset of like, okay, we just need to, train our coders better and everything will be perfect, right? We'll never have a ransomware attack, whatever. It's just it's a mindset thing. And I actually, the person that asked this, if you're looking at this ever, I actually encourage you to educate your company, right? If your company is the one you're talking about where they think that, engineers are going to solve all the problems with coding, educate them. Say, hey, this is great. It's a great idea. I love the approach, right? It's a you suck sandwich, right? You kind of use that same format. So you suck sandwich, for those that don't know, when you sit down as a manager, you want to give a you suck sandwich. So basically Ken, you're doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. I love these things. You're doing great on that. And then the middle part of the sandwich is, is there anything that you feel that you can improve, right? And you let them have a chance to share things, whatever. And then if they miss the things that you were on to bring up, then you bring up, hey, I'd really like to see you kind of work on that, blah, 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 right? Then you come up with a game plan, right? So it's kind of the sandwich. Then we got the middle part of the sandwich and then the other, slice of bread, right? Top bread, bottom bread. And then in the middle is, kind of discovering the different issues, right? Or the things that could be improved. And the top and bottom are, starting with compliments. And then at the end, let's find, solutions to the problem, right? So you suck sandwich. So same thing you want to deliver to your company, right? A you suck sandwich. Now don't tell them that name by all means. Don't say, hey, I'm about to give you a you suck sandwich, right? Don't do that. But start off by saying, hey, I really, I like this approach, right? I like the secure coding approach. I think we've made some good improvements as an organization overall. Do any of you think that there's other areas where we can improve, right? And then just shut up, let them, let the people speak. And then if there's other ones that they didn't cover that you think of in your head, say, yeah, that's cool. I'm kind of thinking that also, what do you guys and gals, think about this, and let them blah, blah, blah. And then all of you come together on solutions, right? So that's the best way to approach that one. Otherwise, you're not going to change the mindset, right? You have to do something like the you suck sandwich. It's just part of negotiation. And then that way you can start changing the mindset of your organization. Next question, what are the top certifications I need to get in order to get an entry-level role in cybersecurity? We've already covered that, so I'm not going to rehash these things we've already covered. Next question is actually good. It's a good question. How to switch to cybersecurity with no coding? You don't need coding. I mean, I can do some coding. I am not a programmer. It takes me I hire people to write stuff. Like, I'm not going to waste my time, right? Because I understand that's not something I want to go in all in on or anything like that. It doesn't interest me whatsoever, right? I write some hacking tools back when I worked as a pen tester. I'd write some hacking tools and stuff on the fly. That's really how I learned Python. I wasn't like, oh, let me build the world's coolest hack. I didn't care. I just wanted a tool. Right? I just needed to make a tool to do my thing, to do my job. So I'm not a coder. I mean, I can do it, but I'm not a coder by any means. Most people I know in cyber are not coders. We leverage your resources, right? If you can hire people to code for you, or if you can barter, like if you're really good at networking and you can help someone set up their home network and they're a coder and they're really, really good, let's say Python or C or C++ or something, then have barter for development work, right? So the question really is, how do I switch to cyber? I'm not a coder, whatever. You don't need that. I would say if you're also not technical whatsoever, look at like GRC roles. Again, I keep mentioning, plug in Jerry's course, but it's a really good course. I mean, I bought it to just because I love what he does. I like to support other people in the industry that create courses that are always giving back. I don't support people that just create a course, to try to earn money, but there's a lot of people giving back. And anytime I see they have a course, I'll just buy it. I don't need training. I did GRC stuff. I don't need the training, but I like to support, and I encourage you to do the same thing. As you move up the ladder in your career, reach a hand back and help somebody else, right? And also support those that are helping others as well. It always comes back to you. That energy, I don't know beliefs for those other, but the energy always comes back to you, right? Again, going back to the law of reciprocity I mentioned before. Next question, what are the best possible online forums through which even non-technical professionals and students can start their journey in cybersecurity with certifications that can help in getting jobs? That was a mouthful. Again, you don't need certs. Really, the two biggest areas where cyber people live on social media, at least, are LinkedIn and Twitter, and YouTube as well. There's a number of us with channels on YouTube. And you can look at my TV show as well. That's on actual television, but online forums. I would say LinkedIn and Twitter, because you don't want to just learn; you want to plug yourself in, right? And Twitter is huge for that. as well as LinkedIn, right? And then that's part of networking. That will help you. That will help position you best for jobs over anything else. Next question is, what are the top roles in the cybersecurity field? I mean, there's depends. It really depends on who you ask. As far as like openings for jobs right now, at least here in the U.S., GRC, sales and marketing. I mean, those audit jobs. I mean, that type of stuff that people don't normally want to do or don't know about. The road less traveled, if you will. Those are the top roles. To get your start as an entry level person. And once you got experience, then it's really just like, where do you want to go? Like, what do you want to do? Anything around cloud is hot right now. So if you get some cloud skills, like if you get some of the entry level certs I mentioned earlier, that may position you very well for jobs. I know it's helped a lot of people that I've given advice to over the past couple of years, especially when COVID hit. Cloud stuff exploded. Next question: are there any junior level roles in threat intelligence? I kind of answered this earlier. I mean, it depends on the company. There could be, but it'll probably be a hybrid role usually, where you're working as like a SOC analyst and maybe they pull you into some threat intel stuff. It just kind of depends on the organization you're with and the size of that organization and what they're outsourcing as well. I guess if you're working for like an MSSP, managed security services provider, for those that don't know what that is, they may let you dabble in that junior level, but you usually want to have some experience, because if you don't, like, how are you going to know what to look for if you don't know what's normal, like, or what like how things work? Like, it kind of goes back to the fundamentals of networking and operating systems. Like, how are you going to defend a network and you don't even know what TCP IP is? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You don't know what a port is. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever, right? So, like, please, for those watching, please stop like trying to jump into like intermediate level job roles in cyber, and like just start out, like just get your start, and it's gonna really help your career so much to have the fundamentals down. It's for those that shoot. I'm ex-military, so I shoot a lot, So like, you don't just like, well, normal people don't go out and like just put 10,000 rounds down range through a handgun. You learn the fundamentals, right? Before you ever pull a trigger with an actual bullet in it, a real bullet. Like when I was in the military training, I spent thousands of hours just on fundamentals, just, drawing, making sure my grip was right, making sure my trigger squeeze, my breathing was right, the fundamentals, before I ever put live rounds in my magazine, because the fundamentals matter, right? So same thing with cyber. Stop trying to jump ahead. Everyone wants to do the cool job or whatever. Like, stop trying to do all this stuff. Just focus on like getting your first job, building yourself up as a person, as a practitioner. Then it's easier to get the things that you want in life. Next question is great. How do I respond to an interviewer when they ask me for the salary to, quote unquote, send to HR? Even though you ask like, what's their budget, right? And they don't tell you, right? So basically the question is, if they want to know what I want for salary, and I ask them, okay, well, what's your budget? And they say, oh, I can't tell you that. I just need to send this to HR. I tell you, my philosophy on this is ask for 40% of over whatever you're thinking in your mind right now. As an example, if you wanted to make, if you were going to ask for $100,000 a year, let's say it's not entry level, say you've got some experience and you want to ask for $100,000 a year because that's what you think you're worth, then ask for $140,000 and let them negotiate from there. Because I'm going to tell you something from my own experience and from experience of, thousands of people over the years that I've spoken with. It's actually been pretty much consistent. I would say probably in 99.99% of cases, this is accurate. This is an accurate statement right here. When a company asks you to give them what you want for a salary first, and they don't want to, they're kind of skirting around on, what their range is and stuff like that. They've got budgeted, or what what kind of range they're willing to offer. It's a terrible company to work for, You're going to be miserable there, because they have to hide that because they suck, right? A good company does not have to hide what their salary range is. They don't have to. They can give you a range, and a good company will tell you, look, here's the range. But it doesn't mean you're going to get the top amount. Obviously this is not, what you're going to get, but this is just to give you some context of what we pay for this particular type of role. And, once you have your official offer, if we come back with an offer, we'll let you know, what the rate is at that time. Right. even if you're experienced, a lot of times, if a good company, if you interview at a good company, they'll give you the range. And when they give you the range, the top number, usually they'll never like give you that, right? Because what they want to do, even if you're very experienced, like let's say the top number is 140,000 a year US. They have to build in a cushion to be able to give you a raise automatically, just in case their budget doesn't get approved to increase, salaries for the next year, right? So I'm speaking as a hiring manager and a former executive for someone else's company, for other companies, and obviously I'm an executive in my own companies now. But you build in that cushion as a manager or as an executive. You build in those cushions. So as an example, let's say the range is for, I don't know, we'll just say magician, right? Without picking a cyber role, we'll say magician, and we'll say the cyber magician range at my company is 100,000 to 140,000, right? So you come in for an interview to be a magician at the company. I say, you ask me, okay, what's budgeted for the position? After I ask you, hey, what salary do you want? You're like, well, what's your budget for the role? What's the typical salary range for the role? I say, oh, cool. Yeah. So our typical range is, 100,000 to 140,000. And, obviously we're not making an offer, but just to let you know kind of context of the range. And usually, if we do make an offer to you, it'll be somewhere in that range. And you say, okay, cool. Right. Because maybe that's in the range you were looking for. And so when we come back with the offer, it's probably going to be, if you're very experienced and we really, really like you, then it's probably going to be like at 130 or 135, right? I'm not going to give you 140, right? And I'm probably going to make it at 130, not because I don't value you, but simply because I want to leave a little room for you to negotiate up to 135, because I'm not going to go above 135. The reason for that is because I want to make sure I build in some budget that I'll be able to give you a bump or a bonus or something like that, just in case I have some issues with, getting a budget approved, for future, right? Because I want my team to always have a raise, right? Or to always get a bonus, right? Something. And I've been in situations before where I haven't, in the past, I didn't plan like that as a manager. So I wasn't able to give a bonus out of the company. So I just went and withdrew, own funds and gave bonuses to people of my own money, right? Because it's doing the right thing, right? And when you treat people right, for those that are interested in management or trying to be a management someday, when you treat your team the right way, they will go to the ends of the earth for you, right? When an incident happens and it's 5 o'clock, if you treat your team wrong, everyone's gone. Everyone's gone except for whoever has to stay. But when you treat your team right and there's an incident at 5 o'clock, everyone's calling. Those that are able to, they're staying off the clock to fix things, right? Because it's a team, right? We're a team. So management advice there for you. Anyways, that's another long-winded answer, but that's why, that's my advice on that. So if the interviewer is still skirting around, ask for 40% above whatever you were planning on asking, right? Whatever you were planning on, put 40% on top of that. And that's the number you give them back. Say, oh, well, yeah, I was looking for, and give them a range too. They love ranges, right? Because that way, maybe one of your numbers is in the range. So what you do is the highest number you were thinking in your head before the 40%, the highest number. So let's say you're like the max, I think I'm going to get 100,000 in this job, but I'm willing to accept 70. Tell them 100,000 is a minimum, right? So when you say a range, add 40% on that, right? So 100 to 140,000 is your range, right? For that. So that's how you got to do. Know your worth. Again, goes back to knowing your worth. You're valuable to a company. These companies are going to make millions of dollars off you while you're working there. And that's just per year. So why wouldn't you ask for your worth, right? And I'll just say this: some people may disagree, but individuals that are minorities or those that identify, as women or other genders that are not male, those individuals typically are scared to ask for what they're worth. Maybe that's not you, but maybe it is. Ask for your worth, right? You're valuable to companies. Ask for your worth. We'll sidetrack there. Okay. Next question is compliance as a role stagnant? No, you can start in compliance. You can start doing the GRC stuff, and that can lead to you. Number one, you can actually have a chance to interview or speak with people in the role that you thought you wanted. And maybe you want to be a pen tester and you start speaking with pen testers, you find out you're going to hate that. You don't want to do that, right? So you didn't waste any money on college or anything to find that out. You just ask people that you were working with, right, as a GRC analyst. So yeah, no, it's not stagnant. It can lead to so many jobs in cyber. I actually recommend people do that. Right. Next question. I'm going right or wrong. I confused in cybersecurity. I have no idea what that means. I really don't know what that means. I guess you're asking, is my direction right or wrong? There's no context here, so I have no idea. I don't know. I'm sorry. I really don't know what to answer on that one. If you feel like you're going in the wrong direction, I guess, just try something else, try a different course or something. If you feel like you're not getting calls in your resume, you're not getting called back, then try a different way, right? Try networking instead. Hopefully that helps you. I just really don't know what you're asking in that question. There's no context there. Yeah, this question has already been answered, but I'll read it. Which certificates or learning materials would you suggest to someone who has little or no knowledge in cybersecurity? And I'll actually tie that in with the next question as well. The next question is, what skills should someone new to learn to cybersecurity be learning? So again, free and low cost for any training, free and low cost. Just keep that in the back of your mind. If you do that throughout your entire life, free and low cost, you'll be fine. That being said, if you're going to run a business, you need to understand you're going to have to invest in training, because how you spend or how you invest your money as a business owner is how it comes back to you. So if let's say I'm selling a little tangent here, but hopefully it's helpful. If I'm a business owner and I'm trying to sell a $10,000 product, but whenever I invest in myself and my learning and stuff, I'm only buying $20 courses, I'm not going to ever be able to sell a $10,000 product, right? Because I don't trust myself enough to invest $10,000 in myself, right? But now if I invest $10,000 in a course or coaching program or something for my business, that's going to come back to me at some point, because it's an energy thing, again, an energy thing. So people are going to feel some reason that they can trust me and invest, 10 grand in me. So side tangent there, but hopefully that's helpful for the business owners out there. But free and low cost for everyone else to learn things. And what skills should you learn? I mean, cloud stuff, really negotiation skills, the soft skills, right? Problem solving, negotiation, critical thinking, public speaking is a big one. If you can break down cyber topics for a non-cyber audience or a non-technical audience, you are valuable day one to a company. And you just have to convey that on your social media that you can do that. You're valuable 100% day one. What are some ways, the next question, what are some ways to gain experience with limited resources or less access to technology? Free and low cost, and less access to technology. Check out Cloud Underground. So Cloud, CLOUD, and then Underground, UNDERGROUND.dev, so .dev. So cloudunderground.dev. And just joined there's a dojo listed on that website. It's free. It's a Discord community. Join that, because you'll be able to go through a lot of free training and stuff with low cost resources. So actually, you don't need whatever resources you have technically right now. You can use those, including a Raspberry Pi. There's a lot of projects around that in there. So just join that and you'll be fine to build up your skill set around like DevSecOps, for example, and then you'll be in demand by employers. Next question is, this has already been answered, but I'll just ask it. Should I have to be at a high technical level to start a career? So basically a career in cybersecurity? No. And again, I've already answered that, so we'll skip over that. This next one's another business question. What is the best way to protect yourself legally when setting up your own InfoSec consulting, business or contracting business? So number one, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney, blah, blah, blah. So if you try to, come back and say, well, Ken told me to, I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving legal advice. And by the way, I have very, very good attorneys. So I don't recommend picking that fight. That being said, best way to protect yourself legally, find good attorneys, right? Here in the US, set it up as as an actual business. I do not recommend anyone does a sole proprietorship. If you have to financially do it as a sole proprietorship, work jobs until you can afford to do like an LLC or some other, business entity to protect yourself. You don't, and also on that note, just a real quick note, keep your business finances separate. So if you've got to work a couple of extra jobs before you actually start your business to be able to afford to do an LLC to, or some other, legal structure to make it a separate entity than you personally, to set up a business bank account, to, get any licenses or, insurance or whatever you need as a business owner. Again, that's all stuff that a business attorney can help you with. if you don't have the money for that, then just work corporate jobs until you have that money saved up, and then go do it. It doesn't take, I mean, it's less than $1,000. You can set up a legal structure and stuff for your business, and set up the business bank account, all that stuff. So it doesn't take a lot of money here in the US to do that, but that's the best way. Set it up as a separate legal entity, and make sure you have good attorneys and good contracts as well. Make sure you have an attorney write your contracts and stuff like that, because all that stuff will be helpful. I mean, there's so many scammers out there. It doesn't matter what you do, and you have to accept that and keep that understanding. No matter what you do, there's always going to be jerks in the world. There's always going to be people trying to steal from you, scam you, come back and say, well, you promised this or that. So get contracts and all that stuff. So again, not legal advice, but those are the things that I would do initially, just to protect your business, protect you legally, protect your family finances, your retirement, all those things. Because if you're not separate, right, there's a potential that if some judgment's put against your business, that it's put against you as well, and now you lose your house, right? Not cool. So just set it up the right way. And even if it takes you a little longer to set up, that's fine, right? Even if you got to work your corporate job a little longer, that's totally cool. I think we only have, I mean, there's still a good amount left, but I think we're over halfway down this document, so we're good. I think we're going a long time here, so forgive me on that, but let me try to get through these a little faster. Some of these we've already answered. Next question, how does a person working outside the field or like a student gain experience to be attractive to hiring companies? Just volunteer, do projects, share your projects on social media. I mean, that's all you can do, really. The other thing is find small business owners that need some cyber stuff done, or maybe that don't know they need cyber stuff done, but just volunteer. Like, hey, I'll do a vulnerability scan of your website for free. I want to get some experience for a school project. And most of them will say, okay, cool. Again, just get them to sign off something saying you're not liable or whatever. You can find templates online for simple contracts like that. But yeah, that's all, just doing projects. So next question, just in the interest of time here. Any free courses available? Yeah, like that's already been answered. You can just Google search that stuff. Next question, where's the training in cyber for people that want to help but are non-techies? How do we promote those jobs so more people can align their skills to cyber? I mean, Jerry Osher's course on GRC, it's free, right? You can use a coupon to take it for free, I think for a limited time. So make sure you go use that coupon today. And then, how do you promote those jobs? It's really just a matter of like, you have to network, because I don't actively go look for jobs to try to find jobs for people. I'm not your recruiter. I'm not going to, like, some people come at me on LinkedIn like, oh, find me this job. I'm not your recruiter. And that's what I tell them. I'm not your recruiter. I'm not going to go look for jobs for you. Look for yourself. Stop being lazy. And I tell them like that. I tell them to stop being lazy. And if you ever approach me like that, I'll tell you the same thing. I'm very honest and open. If you don't like it, just unfollow me or, unconnect from me. I don't care. So promoting jobs just comes down to, if you network with people, like if you tell me you want to be a pen tester and I see you giving value and I see you're working hard and you're sharing what you're doing, what you're learning with, the community to try to help others, you're in the back of my mind. So when I see, or someone asks me, hey man, do you know anyone that's good for this junior pen testing role? I'm going to tag your name because I'm thinking about you in my head, because I see you're always giving value. Right. And because I tag you, that's actually led to several jobs recently for people, because I've tagged them, and then the recruiter or the hiring manager reach out to me directly and say, hey, how well do you know so-and-so? And I don't know them for crap usually, right? Like, I mean, personally, I don't know them, but I know them because we've talked enough. We've maybe gotten a couple of calls or something like that, right? I can feel their energy, like are they a creepo or not, right? Like, but I've never met them physically in person, but that's fine, because then I can give them a recommendation, right? I say, oh, yeah, they're great, man. Check out what they're doing, on the profile. Like, they're helping a lot of people. They're posting great content, whatever, right? That gets you interviews. So it's not about sharing jobs, with people. It's more about networking and then having the right people share the jobs with you. But again, none of us are going to go out there looking for jobs for you. You still have to do your work, right? You still have to get off your butt and do stuff. I'm not here to go search around for you. Like, I have a life, and it's not going to happen. Next question. People say it's a high-paying job in cyber, but it demands experience in exchange for the high-paying job. So basically, what's your roadmap to get a successful cyber career without sticking to a certain domain? No, no. Stick to a certain domain. Stick to one thing and do that. Get your first job, work at that, and then you can pivot to something else. So, I mean, there's no ideal roadmap for that. It's just pick one thing and do it. There's really no roadmap for, pivoting to all these other, 57 different jobs in cyber. Don't do that. Pick one thing, do it, and then move on to the next thing if you want to change jobs. Next question. I'm not answering this again. So someone submitted like hacking questions on here. This is not to train you on being a pen tester. So the question is, basically, how do you do buffer overflows, and how do you, do things hacking Active Directory? Just Google search that stuff. You hear me say that a lot, but like, there's a lot of questions I get in life that just people can Google search. Like, stop being lazy, Google search it. So this is another one. Like, if you want to learn how to do buffer overflows and attack Active Directory and enumerate things with Bloodhound and be the world's greatest hacker, just Google it. There's so much training out there. I already mentioned some earlier, like Heath Adams. Just Google it and go find what works for you. Next question. We actually kind of talked about this. How do I perfect my skills? Because most organizations, are wanting proof, or they want, certifications or whatever. Just again, lab it up. Even if you're not doing labs, like, you can write blog posts and stuff about what you're learning, if writing is your thing, and share it on LinkedIn, right? And understand that not everyone's gonna, like, there's gonna be nobody following you or looking at your stuff, and that's okay. Just keep doing it. The other thing I'll say is, like, if it's so I'm going to say this and maybe give two ways of saying it. You can feel free to tag my name on LinkedIn in your post, but the caveat, or the thing behind that, the what you need to be mindful of, I guess, for those that don't know what caveat means, don't tag my name just on like crap post. If you're going to tag my name on your post to get, more visibility for it, make sure it's a post where you're like teaching, right? What I mean by that is, like, don't just like put some random crap about you're trying to sell this widget or whatever and tag my name, because I get the notifications, right? Obviously, when people tag me usually. So I'm going to go look at the post. And if it's crap, I'll give you like one more chance, right? If you tag me again on a crap post, I'm going to just block you. And then you can't tag me anymore, right? So make sure it's like educational, right? Like teaching. So like, for example, if you learned how to, I don't know, just enumerate Active Directory with Bloodhound, and you put a, post or video or something about that, or blog post, whatever, tag me on that. That's cool. Totally cool, right? Because my audience, my following can use that information, right? Some of them can learn from that, right? And then all of a sudden they'll start following you because, like, oh, this person's smart, right? But don't tag people on crap posts just because you want visibility on your crappy post. Make sure it's like you're giving back, right? Always give back. If you go in with the mindset of, I'm going to give back, you'll always be okay. You'll always be okay. Next question is cybersecurity a growing career? I don't know. No. You wouldn't think it by all the college degrees and stuff. Yeah, of course it is, right? Of course, anything technical is, growing, yeah. Next question, like with that one, it's the second question. How much can I expect from a career start point of view? I don't really know. So if the context of that question is more around, like, will I have career growth starting out by moving into cybersecurity? Yeah, of course, right? There's a lot to learn. I mean, I still learn stuff. Like, no one's an expert. Anyone that tells you they're an expert or calls themselves an expert in cybersecurity is an idiot. They're an idiot. And you can feel free to show me their posts where they said they're an expert. They're an idiot, right? Like, nobody's an expert in everything. There's no way possible. If you're thinking like more long-term, well, actually, I think the other part of the question maybe is, how much can I expect salary-wise, or or financial-wise, starting out? Really depends on the role. Most roles here in the U.S., you can expect above 60,000 base salary per year for most cyber roles. Some are higher, some are even high 90,000s, some are even six figures. Just really depends on the role. Let's see. So it's funny, earlier I mentioned, I hate Sec Plus. I'm against people spending money in the voucher. So next question, I'm on the way to getting my Sec Plus, my Security Plus, CompTIA Security Plus, for those that don't know what it is. What's the next learning path? Go do it. That's the next learning path. Go do it. Go get a job. Go get your first job. Don't collect certs. Please do not go collect a bunch of certs. That actually is a turnoff for most hiring managers, because it's like, why'd you collect all these certs and not go get a job? Right. So don't collect certs. Just if you got one, cool. If you're just about done with the Sec Plus or some other one, cool. But then go get a job. Actually get some hands on, even if it's in marketing or sales. Again, the road less traveled is oftentimes a road you can just go down and get the job right away, right? Think of that just a quick digression because we're almost done here. If you look at two buildings, right, and there's let's say they're restaurants, right, and both serve the same thing, both have 5-star reviews, everyone loves them, whatever, right? But you go one day and you see that one restaurant's got 5,000 people waiting, the other restaurant's got 5 people waiting, right? Again, quality hasn't changed. They're both the same, right? One's on one side of the street, one's on the other side, right? And really the only reason why there's a big line on one is because everyone was lazy, right? And they want to take, they saw everyone else in the line there, so they figured they must go in the same line. And there's a line with 5 people in it, right? Well, which one do you want to go to, right? You're starving, right? You're hungry. You want to eat. You've been to both. Both of them are great. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm going to the line with less people in it, right? Same with your cyber career, right? Why would you go in the line of a SOC analyst or pen tester or something where tens of thousands of people are trying to get the same 5 jobs, right? The same 5 openings, when you could go to like sales, marketing, or GRC path, or auditing or something, then deal with 5 people ahead of you, right? And have a much better chance of actually getting an interview, stuff like that. So road less traveled. People always want to like take the difficult way. It's fine if you want to take the long way and spend the next 3-4 years hoping for a cyber job, cool. But if not, maybe you should listen to what I'm saying on this video. Next question. Some of these are just like, these are not career questions, but next question is, what are methods of using cybersecurity to solve business problems? A ton. There's a ton. I mean, frameworks, right, is a starting point. So if you're trying to get your start in cyber, then go look at some frameworks, for NIST or ISO or CIS. Look at the CIS controls. You can even look at IT management frameworks like COBIT or ITIL or something. I mean, there's so many things you could look up out there. But yeah, just start with a framework. I think that's what you're really trying to ask here. Start with a framework. And that's what companies do. They start with frameworks as well. This question, what are the best cybersecurity companies to work for? I mean, the list is endless because I don't know you, so I don't know what you look for in a company. I mean, the way I usually, like, if you're looking for companies to work for, whether they're good or not, the way I usually tell people to do it is look at big cybersecurity conferences. So like your Black Hats, your DEF CONs, RSA. Look at the list of sponsors, and there's usually a few hundred or so. Go look at those companies' websites and see if there's any jobs that interest you, right? Go to their actual websites and see if there's anything that interests you. And if so, apply for them. Usually the companies that go to the bigger conferences have some money and they're willing to invest in their people. Whether or not they're the best environment for you, I have no idea, right? Only you can decide that in an interview or when you're working on the job. But as far as like trying to find a company that's probably got some dollars to invest in you in your career, that's the best route to do it. Is, again, find a big conference, find the sponsors for that, go to the sponsors' websites, look through, see if there's any jobs that interest you, apply for the jobs, hopefully get an interview, and go from there. Next question, how do I switch from a current domain into cybersecurity? I don't know what your current domain is, so I don't know exactly the advice to give you here, but the general advice I give people is always do a self-reflection and think about how your stuff you're doing now applies to cybersecurity or to security in general. And I'll give you an example. I was a former pediatric nurse and also medic, in the military way back in the day. If you're a nurse looking to get into cyber, then understand that security you've done is securing patient data, right? You followed a process, right? You're familiar with frameworks, right? Or you're familiar with regulations and laws, right? Like HIPAA, high tech, high trust, right? So you've, protected, the patient information. Even, going back to following like a process procedure, starting an IV, right? Putting in a Foley catheter. These are all things that are part of a process. If you've worked with defibrillators, like I did, there's security around that, right? You had to make sure that you weren't putting like a magnet over the patient's defibrillator if you didn't want to, right? If you didn't want to stop the defibrillator part. You had to make sure that you were keeping your credentials safe. So that way, when you logged into the system to do remote monitoring of the patient's pacemaker or defibrillator, that no one else had access to it, right? So there's a number of things that are transferable. It's just you have to figure out, what those are. So again, self-reflection reflection will do you well there. I don't know the next. Oh, okay. They give me a little more context. I was just about to say I have no idea what they're saying. So a question is so I'm going to pull it all together into one question. Is there any kind of future opportunity in this field? By field, we're just generalizing cybersecurity in general. Yeah, I mean, there's so much room for growth. There's so many different roles. I mean, I've never officially worked like in a dedicated forensics or malware reverse engineer role. I've done it as part of incident response, and doing that, but it interests me. I love reverse engineering. It's so, for me, it's very therapeutic. It's good because I do it on my own. I don't have to do it for a company, because obviously when you're under, time deadlines and things like that, it can be stressful, but it's very therapeutic to just like sit there. It's just you, malware, your tools, you're there. Sometimes you burn your box and you're like, oh crap, I messed up. I gotta, redo this from scratch. It's just, even forensics for me, it's, it can take a long time, but for me, I like, for my PTS, it's very helpful for my PTS to have life be slower, for activity that I do. Right. So as an example, I read a lot. Sometimes I'll just go outside and like, there's like an ant hill, in part of our front yard. And so I'll just sometimes go out there and just sit in nature, and, I'll see like the little ants, doing their thing or whatever. Like things that are slower are very, very, very helpful for my PTS, or it used to be called PTSD. I think some people still call it PTSD. It's very therapeutic for me. It's very helpful for me to do things like that, where life is kind of slowed down a bit. It's very therapeutic. So what I'm getting at there is, I found things that aren't necessarily like a job role, but that are still growth for me, right, in my career. Like, the forensics, or, the malware analysis and reversing. These are things that are still helpful for my growth as a cyber practitioner, but not things that are directly like I've got to move into be a forensics person now, right? Like I mean, aside from the hobby stuff I do, I'm well past. I'm an executive, right? I have my own businesses and stuff. Like I'm past like practitioner working for somebody else level, if you will. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I've gone beyond that in my personal growth of where I wanted to go in life, right? And again, your goals are different. That's totally cool. I'm totally cool with that. There's people that are the best technical practitioners in the world. There's people that are the best auditors in the world. I love them to death, right? They're great. They have no aspiration like I did to be in the position that I'm currently in, right? But for those out there suffering from PTS or PTSD, if you're calling it that, me personally, I found that it's very a little tangent here, but hopefully it's helpful to those that need it. It's very helpful for me to slow life down. I found that if I I avoid busy places. Like for me, going to a security conference, like when I went to Black Hat, it was so weird for me internally that people were trying to, chase me down. I literally had hundreds of people looking for me at Black Hat. This was back in 2019. I think it was 2018. I think 2019, right before the COVID stuff. And it was awkward for me because I'm an introvert. I know I'm on videos and stuff. I'm an introvert at heart. And, but I found that like, that was cool, right? Everyone there, the energy was great and stuff like that. It was totally cool. But typically when I'm in large crowds like that, I don't do very well. Like it's, externally you won't see anything going on, but internally I have a lot going on, that's a PTS. It's a thing, it gets better with time, gets better, with, avoiding certain situations. But for me personally, I found that if I slow life down, if I find hobbies that keep life slower, if I enjoy nature, all these things are very therapeutic, and I actually encourage everyone, regardless of whether you're suffering, from PTS or PTSD, even if you're not suffering from that, just in general, cybersecurity careers are stressful. Just get outside in nature if it's safe in your area, or find a safe place. Just sit in nature for a little bit. It helps so much. So off the tangent now, let's get back to it. Next question. What is the scope of working in cyber threat intelligence? I'm not going to answer that. Like, some of these are not really career questions. They're individual career questions. This is a question I can, I'll actually make sure I put in the course when I break it down based on different career paths. So the course will actually take a little longer because I'll break it down in different career paths and wrap into the other questions in a more general area. Again, the course will be free, so keep an eye out on my LinkedIn whenever I post it out there. I don't know what this next question. It's just I don't know. I don't even know if it's really a question. So I'll just read it to you. Planning for entry into executive period. I don't know. Maybe this means if I want to be an executive, what should I learn? I hope that's the case. I have no idea what that means otherwise. So let's just, so if you want to be, let's just focus on executive level, because I mean, management, take some courses on, project management, stuff like that. You can move into a management role. Executive level requires a different mindset than, just like a mid-level manager or a frontline manager. You have to, your thought process as an executive is beyond you as the individual, right? So it's about the collective. So if you're a Star Trek fan and you thought of this in the context of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where you've got the Borg, the Borg collective, it's not about the individual, right? It's about the Borg, the collective. In a similar fashion, as an executive, you need to think about the company as a collective, right? Everyone within the organization and the company itself as the, let's just call it our Borg ship. It's just a different mindset, right? It's a mindset shift you have to have. And the other mindset pivot you have to be an executive successfully, at least. Because I mean, people, have a rich mommy and daddy and they get an executive job and they suck at it because they don't know what they're doing. And they never have to work hard, right? Because mommy and daddy own the company. But for real executives, right? And I mean, there's some of those other good, so I won't discredit them by saying they're not real. But for other executives that have to work their way up, the other mindset pivot is that the buck stops with you, right? Everything stops with you. So I, as an executive, the responsibility is with me at the end of the day, right? So if my team's screwing up or whatever, that falls on me. I have to take ownership for that. And those two things are the biggest mindset pivots that I think a lot of people have to make. I've always just kind of naturally had those, but those are the ones that I think most people usually struggle with. The other things you would have to learn to be an executive, I mean, project management, public speaking, negotiation skills, some of those fundamental soft skills. Those are things you need to, communication, those are things, but really it's a mindset. It's a mindset pivot. Once you can make that mindset pivot successfully, then you're ready for executive roles. Everything else you can learn, kind of as you go. Next question. I learn and try Hack Me and Hack the Box and other things, but on real life websites, I don't get any bugs. Number one, hopefully you're not using somebody else's site. You don't have permission to hack. Number two, just join bug bounty programs and keep at it. It's not easy. Like the problem with a lot of training material is it makes certain things look so freaking easy, and it's not that easy. Like especially bug bounty, it's not that easy to find bugs that you can actually report and get paid for. It's not that easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So just keep at it. For the person that put that question, just keep at it, keep learning, keep improving. Eventually you'll find something. It just takes time. Sometimes it takes people a year to find bugs or more. So if you're not doing it after a week of being on Try Hack Me or something, like that's fine. Just keep working at it. Next question. Interesting. This is actually interesting because I'm actually building so I have like some practice tests on certification on Udemy, the CHFI, which is the EC Council certification. Just Google that, CHFI, and see what it is. But basically, it's a forensic cert. And this question is interesting because I'm actually working on the rewrite, or actually working on the actual video course right now for that, along with notes and stuff like that. So a few questions here. Number one question. What's something you think people should, or what are some things that people should consider before they think about a career in cybersecurity? Just understand that it's going to take work and you're going to have to be persistent at it. Nothing's going to be handed to you in this industry, nothing. So you're going to have to work for it and it's going to take some time. And if you're okay with that, if you're okay with embracing the suck for a little bit, it's going to be a very rewarding career for you. I guarantee you. Question two, what tool would you suggest someone learn if they're new to digital forensics? And how can someone that's new to, cybersecurity or digital forensics gain experience? We talked about cyber, and it really doesn't change. We talked about general cyber, and it doesn't change for specifically if you want to be in forensics. Just number one. So for forensics in general, besides the course that I'll be putting out, go to Differ Diva. So just Google search Differ Diva. So DFIR and then Diva, DIVA. Elaine has a phenomenal blog with a ton of resources around incident response, around forensics, around malware analysis and reversing. There's a ton of free and low-cost resources she has there. So that's the best resource anyone watching this should go to. Honestly, that's the best resource. There's so much stuff there, it's ridiculous. Am I too old for a career? Physical. Okay, so this person wants to basically switch from physical security, which could be a number of things. Could be law enforcement, could be security guard, whatever. But they want to switch from that to cybersecurity. Yeah, you could switch to some, I don't know what cyber role you want, but you could switch to that pretty easily, especially if you want to be like a physical pen tester, and especially if you have a clearance. If you have a security clearance here in the US, you'll be able to find something, depending on where you live. You'll be able to find something because they always need people to try to breach into different facilities. So yeah, 100%. And you're not too old. Yeah, you're 48. You're not too old. Lots of people are career changers. You're not too old. I'm in my 40s. I know I look, especially if I shave, I look like I'm 12, but you're not too old. You're never too old. By the way, if you're 85 watching this, you're not too old. Just focus, work hard, and it'll happen for you. Okay, we're almost done. Actually, only a few left here, so we'll wrap these up. Regarding OSINT, or for those that don't know, that's open source intelligence. Should a potential new entrepreneur have discussions with local or federal, whatever, law enforcement before setting up shop? So I think you're asking, hey, if I've got a consulting company that does open source intelligence and maybe private investigations on people or entities, should I consult with law enforcement? Pardon me. You don't need to. Now, if you want to do like actual like private investigation work, usually depending on where you live, you have to get a license and do an FBI background check, and all these things. If you're I actually would recommend you just get an FBI one background check done anyways, because if you're a business owner trying to sell services where you do open source intelligence for companies, they'll probably want to know that you're not a criminal, right? Or that you're at least, they know the record, right? So you can share that information. So yeah, you don't need to consult with law enforcement to open a company. I would just suggest, depending on what you're really trying to do there, you may have to get some licenses and things like that. And again, a business attorney can help you out. But yeah, law enforcement doesn't care. They don't care that you don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to be doing, pen testing. I don't care. As a police officer, I'm just here, trying to get dinner, and you're disturbing me to walk up to me and tell me that, you're going to be doing this thing called pen testing. I don't even know what that is. Right. So yeah, you don't need to do all that. That's extra work on your part. Just look for any licenses, et cetera, that you might need. And that's all you need. Let's see, next question. Are some certifications considered better than others by those who hire? Certifications for for the hiring managers that actually care about them, it's so subjective to what they want. Who knows? I don't know. They may turn you down because you've got AWS and not Azure certs. Who cares? That's why I say they're optional. Like, who cares? You can't please everybody. So yeah, there's not really any better than others, but I talked about earlier about the cloud stuff. So that may be one, that you consider. How are we going to change the hiring process? Yeah, good luck on that one. So basically the question is, how are we going to change the hiring process? Recruiters just recycle the same people in the pool from one company to the next, and they don't make any room for new people to cyber. So, pardon me. I've been up for like ridiculous amount of hours. That's probably why I'm yawning a little bit, but we're almost done anyways. So a couple of things. Number one, recruiters get their requests from their clients, which are the companies, right? And clients typically don't want new people, right? Even though they claim they do, they typically don't, because they want to reduce their risk. And for them, even if it's not true, right? Maybe you've got really awesome skills, but for them in their mind, at least, they consider it a risk to hire new people. And so that's why they're going to, a recruiting agency to try to get someone with some experience. The other thing around that is they also, in addition to that, they want to reduce their the amount of people they have to hire. So with a new person, I'd have to hire, maybe a few people to train or whatever. With someone experienced, I can potentially be a cheap company and make somebody do like 3 or 4 different jobs, right? So there's that potential there as well. As far as changing the hiring process, you just need more people to be business owners, honestly. Like if you're entry level or you're trying to get your first cyber job, find small businesses in your local area that need some help. Charge them a nominal amount. Don't charge them millions of dollars. They're not going to pay that. But charge them a couple $100s or whatever, depending on, whatever's fair in your area, and do some work for them. Now you've got experience and you've hired yourself. Now you don't need someone else's company. You're actually going to find you probably will make a lot more money doing your own company versus, someone else's. So you're never going to change the hiring process until you weed out all the people with the wrong mindset. And those people are always going to be in there. So there's no way to change the hiring process. The only way to make a dent in things is to have more people with the right mindset in executive roles or in ownership roles in companies. Next question. Can you share some scholarship scholarship schemes, programs, communities for aspiring females looking to start his career in cybersecurity? Yeah, so I actually sit on the advisory board. There's a number of organizations, just Google search, by the way, but one in particular I sit on the advisory board of is called Breaking Barriers Women in Cybersecurity, or BBWIC. You can just go to my LinkedIn, you'll see a link to it there. But that one's specifically targeted towards women. And so there's a lot of other organizations out there that are for women that allow men in the mix to be like members and stuff. But with BBWIC, right now it's strictly women, and obviously I'm the only guy. I sit on the advisory board, and there is we're having discussions right now to potentially bring in some what we call male allies, but they won't be involved in the level of, like, say, a member, right? So if you're like entry level male out there, you identify as male, this is not the place for you, right? This particular organization, this one's for women. And the reason for that is it's a very safe place, because let's be real, if you're a man watching this, you may not be a creepo, or there's a lot of creepy guys out there. There are a ton of creepy guys out there. I've been kicked out of gyms because I've gotten a lot of fights against creepy guys that were bothering women at the gym, right? So there's a lot of creepy guys out there. So this particular organization is very strict on what men are brought into it, right? Because again, it's a safe environment for women and young girls and young women to come in, to learn, to get the mentoring they need to have successful cyber careers without all the creepy comments and, "Ooh, girl, you look nice today. I like that blouse," all that crap, right? It's a safe place. So if you're a woman, you identify, as a woman, whatever, you're looking for a safe place, that's one you may check out. There's also a number of other ones, and they're good. Not just because they accept men as members doesn't mean they're bad. I'm a member of a number of them, right? But BBWIC is one I sit on the advisory board on. So I do recommend that one as a very safe environment for women out there. Next question: how do you make a SOC from scratch? So this one's it's kind of a career question. So I mentioned earlier cloudunderground.dev. Just go there, join the Dojo Discord community, and you'll be able to get access to what's called the Nexus. And there's coming very soon, there will be training around how to build your own home SOC. And that's a great project for entry level people, by the way. You can show, imagine that. It's like, just imagine you're in an interview for a SOC position. They're like, "Well, tell me about yourself." It's like, "Oh yeah, last week I built my own home SOC." They'd be like, "Excuse me, what?" You'd be like, "Yeah, I built my own SOC. Let me tell you about it." "Okay, cool, yeah." All of a sudden, you go from, let me hurry up and get this interview done so I can, talk to the next person, to let me spend an extra hour and cancel the other interviews for the day so I can hear what you have to say about your home SOC and learn about that, right? That's so cool, right? So make a home SOC from scratch, easy. Go to cloudunderground.dev, join the dojo, and you'll learn how to do that type of stuff. There's a lot of cool projects you can get involved in. Next question, and there's only these last two, so we're almost done. Thank goodness. The cat has been going crazy, so I've got to go feed her. So what are the other benefits I will get in my whole career? Again, a very generic question, but that's okay. Just a ton. I mean, a ton of benefits, spiritually, physically, mentally. I mean, technically, technical skills. You make, financially, right? If you do it right, you'll make more money. You'll be able to hopefully pay off debt if you manage your money properly. You'll be able to take vacations with your family. I mean, it's just a ton of benefits, right? But it all starts with square one. You got to get started. You have to start. All right, last question here. What are the tools I need to learn to go into the fields that I'm interested in? I have no idea what the fields you're interested in are. I mean, honestly, I would just Google search whatever you want to do and tools, right? So if you want to be digital forensics, just Google search digital forensic tools and you'll find stuff, right? And then it'll start taking you down the rabbit hole, and then you'll find more tools. You'll find more tools. You find what tools work for what, and when's it best to use this tool, and when's it not good to use this tool. And that's how you do that. You got to just start. All of you are lucky. Those of you that don't remember the days before Google search, you are so lucky. I'd like have to go to the library, and I was poor, so like I had to make sure I caught the school bus, and I'd like literally for school projects where I had to use the library, I'd have like that's why I got very good at like doing papers and stuff in just a matter of minutes, because I had to. I had no choice, because I'd only have like 15, 20 minutes before the bus came out front that I had to catch. And there was no other way home. Like, didn't have a car or anything. Like, there's no other way for me to get home aside from walking 5 miles, which sometimes I had to do if I missed a bus. Tiny little kid, very young, having to walk 5 miles in the cold in the wintertime. That's not cool, right? It's not cool for a little kid to have to do. So I had to make sure I caught the bus as much as possible. So, like me, I had to research in the library and be fast about it, right? All of you that are, younger, that didn't have to deal with all this stuff. My goodness, you have the world at your fingertips. Google search, just search it, right? Search, DuckDuckGo, use Brave browser, whatever, but just search. The answers are all there. You just have to look for them. So that's my advice on the last question. What tools, do I need? Whatever, what do I need to learn? Just whatever you want to do, Google search tools for that thing, and you'll be just fine. So I know this was long. I actually don't even know how long it is until I look at the recording, but thank you for sticking with me. I answered all the questions that were submitted. Again, I'm going to put more structure to this and actually build it as a real course. Like I said, it will be free. It'll probably take me at least a few weeks to do the film and edit and all these things. And of course, I've got to figure out some cat videos I can throw in, just because that's what I do. But whenever it launches, I will share it on social media that's launched. I'll also throw all the videos on the YouTube channel as well, probably, or at least some of them, and just send you to the course. I'm going to host it on Teachable, like most people do in cyber. So it'll be there. So anyways, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope that this was all 100% helpful for you, and look forward to seeing you start and grow your cyber career.